Being just a few days away from the Toronto Maple Leafs playoff series against either the Panthers or the Bruins, Sheldon Keefe and their playoff plans have been revealed. So we're going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as injury updates. We have a lot of those, and the lines, they're being shuffled around a little bit. We have some clarity on that. So stay tuned for all that and much more in this episode of Leafs Digest. But before we do, if you're excited for the playoffs, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I'll have you covered all the way through with lots of live streams as well coming up. We should have one tomorrow after the game as well, so keep an eye out for that in the community tab there. And Darius, it's a good time to be a Leafs fan. It's exciting. It's obviously what we've been waiting for all year, which is the playoffs. And now that they're happening, we have a lot of things to go over today, and we're kind of just going to be jumping through them in no real order here. But let's start with this here. And this is from Sheldon Keefe. He kind of just gave an update today, and these are a lot of injuries and some line stuff, but focusing on the injuries. So Max Domi won't play tomorrow and won't play the day after on Wednesday. Bobby McMann is out for the rest of the regular season. Joseph Woll starts Tuesday and to be determined for Wednesday. And Calle Yarncroc is not ready to play and is uncertain for game one. We have some more updates, but let's just start with that. Darius, I guess the big one here is Max Domi. Hopefully he's going to be okay for the playoffs. It seems a little bit uncertain, and he's been had a great year, quite frankly. Had a very good year, especially given how it kind of started. What are your thoughts on this from Sheldon Keefe? And, bad news, really.
Yeah, bad news to start the day, that's for sure. And the playoffs start this week. Everyone was feeling pretty good. And then you get this news dropped on. We're going to get to some other stuff too. And it's not a great way to start your Monday, but he never said Max Domi is not going to play in the playoffs. It sounds like Max Domi's probably dealing with something. They'll get him rested up this week. He doesn't have to play. Nobody really has to play these next two games. Let's be honest about that. The only guy I'd like to play that's a regular is Austin Matthews so he can get the 70. But in terms of Max Domi, he'll probably be back for game one, which is great. McMahon being out the final two games, again, he doesn't need to play as long as he's back for game one of the playoffs. I don't think it's a huge issue, but it is kind of concerning with the type of verbiage he used this morning, especially concerning Calle Yarncroc not ready to play and uncertain for game one. That seems like a gigantic question mark to me. I don't like the way that sounded. Hopefully he's, working his way back. He can get into the lineup within the series because I think Yarncroc is a very underrated player and he's a player that the Leafs are going to need in the playoffs. But that didn't sound good. And I'm not surprised with the goaltending thing. Give Samsonov the break. He didn't have the best game or the best last two games. So give him a little bit of rest. Get Woll in there for one game. Probably Jones starts on Wednesday as well. Not too surprised with that. Just get Samsonov ready for game one of the playoffs on Saturday. Because the Leafs, again, they got back-to-back games this week against pretty good teams. And then you're right into the playoffs with like a day or two's rest. So a little bit of a tall task for them heading into the playoffs. But we'll see how the lines shake up too. That should be interesting considering the injuries and who's back game one. Hopefully it's everyone besides Yarncroc. That's how it sounds.
Yeah, so a lot of injuries. The Yarncroc thing is a little bit worrisome. I don't think the other ones are as worrisome. We'll see how Max Domi plays out. I'd say it's going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup on Saturday, but he had some more to say about this. He said that Calle Yarncroc, who joined practice for the penalty kill portion at the end, and if he'd be ready for game one, he's more of a day-to-day more in a day-to-day situation. Sorry, unfortunately, we're running out of schedule here, but we'll just have to see where he is. He's going to be traveling with us, so they're just going to play that by air here. And here's kind of their plan revealed a little bit for the playoffs regarding the goaltending. Obviously, Wall will go tomorrow, and we'll take it from there. And again, I think Samsonov starts game one on Saturday. Martin Jones plays the second game of the doubleheader, I guess, or the back-to-back day game on Wednesday. And Samsonov hasn't played great recently. Now, whether that's fatigue, whether that's who knows what it was, but he hasn't played great. And I guess Samsonov, he's definitely, you think, going to be our game one starter on Saturday. It seems that's the way it's going to line up. And it makes the most sense, but hopefully the rest will help him get back to where he was before the last 2 or 3 games where he struggled.
Yeah, he's been struggling the last couple of games. Everyone can see it, right? But what did rest do for this guy earlier in the year? I think he'll be fine, right? If you give him this week off, just focus on game one, I think he'll be fine because his track record the rest of the year since, he was sent down to the Marlies or given that bit of rest has been great. He's been fantastic. So I think without a doubt, he's going to be the game one starter. Yes, there's a little bit of doubt, his last couple of games, but he's going to be the game one starter. And to go back to Calle Yarncroc too, we'll see I think the concern here mostly is he probably won't get into game action, and he's been off for a little while before the playoffs. I think that's a little concerning because once you jump right back into the playoffs after not playing since probably early March, that's a little concerning because the tempo is higher. It's harder hitting. The ice shrinks a little bit. So I think that's mostly where Keefe's concern is, where, he's saying, unfortunately, we're running out of schedule here. It's true. You only got 2 games left. And if he's not ready to go this week, to put him back into the lineup in a game 2 or 3 or something like that is going to be difficult for the coach to do. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. But to go back to the goaltending, it's Samsonov starting game one. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind.
No, I'd say he's going to be our 1A starter for the whole playoff run, depending on how he does, and we saw him do some good things last year. Now, Ryan Reeves spoke out a bit on the game upcoming against the potential matchup against the Florida Panthers. He said, I don't think I've ever traveled to a city you might be in for the playoffs too. I anticipated nice weather in Florida, but packed a lot of warm clothes in case it's Boston. You have to go through the best teams anyway. Our goal isn't to go just one round, and that's obviously the big thing here is that Ryan Reeves, this is the guy you want to ask if you want to get great quotes about an upcoming playoff series. He also had some stuff to say about the physicalities, and you can look at the lines here, Darius, at the last Leafs practice of the regular season, and it's kind of poetic now. We've been going through it the whole year, and this is the last practice of the regular season. We've been going through all these lines. You have Bertuzzi, Matthews, Marner, Nyes, Tavares, Nylander, Robinson, Holberg, Gregor, and then Connor Dewar, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves. And then you have the defenseman there with Samsonov starting in that game. Do you have any thoughts on these lines? Anything that's crazy standing out to you? Last one of the regular season. It's been a good run, and hopefully they're preparing themselves for one big playoff run here, because that's what they've been hoping for all season. The biggest thing, obviously, get Matthews' 70 goals.
Yeah, I think Matthews should play at least the first game and take it from there. I don't know if he should play the back-to-back, but see if he can get a goal tomorrow against Florida and just call it a season for him. But anyway, to go back to the Ryan Reeves thing, I like the confidence, man. If you're going to get a quote out of anyone on the Leafs, like you said, ask Ryan Reeves some questions, man. He's a great quote. And he's right. Like, you're basically packing to stay in Florida at this point. Like, I think it's going to be the Florida Panthers. Yeah. I think that's how it's going to shake out. Again, it did look like it was going to be Boston for like a day or two, but yeah, I think it's going to end up being Florida. So it sounds like they're packing to just stay down there since they're going to be in Florida anyway. And they got to start anticipating for who they're going to play too. But, I like the confidence. That's the mindset of the group. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be this pessimistic, mindset where, oh yeah, we're going to be one and done in round one. No, they want to go far. That's their mindset that they're going into the playoffs with. Like, they're packing for round one. Okay. And then we're going to move on to round two. We want to move on to round three. I like that. I know it's we meme a little bit, and Leaf fans are the team is cursed and all that stuff, but I like the mindset. I like, where their heads are at. That should be a good thing. And to go to the lineup, you said one thing that, if anything stands out to me, if you look at the defense, Brody isn't even like close to starting in these lines. Like, not even he's not even on a fourth pairing, which also doesn't exist. Nope. So I think that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. I liked Edmundson and Liljegren. I did like that pairing, and I think Edmundson's a great partner for Liljegren because they are total opposites. Yep. So that might actually work out. And then the other two pairings I've been vocal about I wouldn't touch. So I don't hate that lineup the way it is. Gio, I would sit. Timmins, I would sit. Brody, odd man out. He's not even in, like I said, an imaginary fourth pairing. So interesting. I did not think that was going to go that way, considering who the coach is. Sheldon Keefe, we know his track record. I thought Brody was going to play, but lately he hasn't been up to snuff. So maybe he's going to sit for the playoffs, and who knows if he even gets back in, because right now Giordano's over him in the depth chart. I thought that was really, really interesting. And then in terms of the forwards, again, you just need guys back from injury. I think this is we're going to see a very bare bones lineup, I think, on Wednesday against Tampa Bay. So I'm not too concerned about that. But the fact that they're already running with this defense core like this in practice is interesting. It's interesting. So we're going to see how it shakes out in the playoffs.
And we get to see Simon Benoit. As you can see the train here. We're going to see some playoff hockey from this guy, which is going to be great to see. We've obviously been on the train for a while. And yeah, the biggest storyline now for the next 24-ish hours is Matthews hitting 70, and I guess realistically seeing who they're going to play. But it looks like the Florida Panthers, you can see here, is the first start of the week, 4 games played, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points, and ultimately it's going to be a fun one, and hopefully they can take it. Honestly, I think Sheldon Keefe's prayer here is that Matthews gets 70 so he doesn't have to make the hard decision of playing him in game 82 or sitting him down. But yeah, that'll wrap it up, Darius. Hopefully we'll have some clarity soon on the Florida Panthers and all that situation, and I think it's going to be the Panthers, which is going to be interesting. We should have a stream for you guys covering all that. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to check out our video from yesterday, click on your screen now. I'll see you tomorrow.